We are live. Hello, good morning, good afternoon. Today is the 22nd of December, which is absolutely bonkers. I don't know how this has happened and how we are just a few days out from Christmas now. Mental. Anyway, today we have some Tesla stuff, we have some Palantir stuff, and then I wanted to round off with just some discussion on where I see my portfolio going in 2024 and what my plans are. And of course, we'll look at both Tesla and Palantir pre-market. And then at the end, we will also jump over into the live chat. So good to see some of you guys already here. Appreciate you being here. Merry Christmas, Leo, to you too. And to Colin, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for all joining as always. So let's get into it. I'll tell you what, whilst I'm going through some information about Tesla and Palantir, drop a comment if you're watching this after it being live, or if you're watching it live, drop a live chat comment. Let me know what you're planning to do with your own portfolio moving into 2024. Are you planning to make any big changes, or are you just keeping it structured the way it is, maybe rebalancing, stuff like that? Do let me know. We'll get onto that later on in the video. So let's start with this. Let me share my screen. Here we are. Here we are. Okay, so what's going on here? Basically, this article has come out and it talks about the net income flow into Tesla. It's quite interesting. So we won't cover this whole article just because it's a little bit long, but let's just cover the main points here. Right, I'm going to skip this bit and just go on to this. Tesla, which entered the S&P 500 3 years ago this week. So Tesla entered the S&P 500 index on December the 21st, 2020. So literally 3 years ago yesterday, which I don't actually think many people will realize that actually Tesla only entered the S&P not that long ago. And since then, look how popular the stock has become and the company has become, and the stock price has shot up since that date. And that makes me excited because obviously another position that we talk about on this channel a lot is Palantir. They are due to be added to the S&P 500, but they're not yet there. So if they follow the same outcome that Tesla's had, could be very, very good for the stock price. Now, I'm by no means saying that Palantir being added to the S&P 500 will shoot the stock price up and it will never come down again, and that will be the number one catalyst for the whole year. I don't think that's the case. But I do think that it will have a very positive outcome for Palantir. Anyway, let's keep reading here. So 3 years ago since Tesla entered the S&P 500, and it's on pace now to attract the largest flow of individual investor dollars of any security in 2023, according to Vanda Research. The firm calculates net inflows to find these favorites, subtracting the amount of stock sold from what was bought. So basically what they are saying is now Tesla is set to overtake the S&P 500 index in terms of total net inflows. So that's tracking the amount of money put into Tesla, but not taken back out. This article uses the word traders quite a lot, which doesn't really make sense for this piece of research because it is talking about money going in. And obviously when you're trading, you're putting money in, then you're taking it out, you're putting it in, taking it out. That's not what's happening here. That means Tesla will eclipse even the S&P 500, so SPY, which tracks the largest stock market in the index. This underscores the stock's fast ascent to retail investor glory, especially considering Tesla wasn't even among the top 20 equities that individual investors got in 2019. So you can see the absolute, so the blue line is the SPY, so S&P 500 ETF, and then Tesla is the red line. And you can just see when it was added to the S&P 500 index in 2020, it's had an absolutely crazy, and this is similar with the stock price as well, absolutely crazy run up there with total net inflows. And then it goes on to talk more about this, and you can read this. It's a very interesting article. I would recommend reading it. But this is the other interesting thing here that I wanted to point out. So these are the top 5 traded securities by year. So obviously Tesla's 2023, we've just learned that, followed by the SPY, followed by the QQQ, Nvidia, and then Apple. I think kind of expected, actually. I would have probably predicted, especially Nvidia and Tesla, and obviously the S&P 500 makes sense. Looking back to last year, Tesla was in second place. SPY was still in there, QQQ, Apple still plays a role, and then we have AMD. And you can see across many years, it sort of changes slightly, but you still see those big players in there. We can see Disney in 2019, which is quite interesting. And then going back to 2018, we've got BABA ticker symbol. We've got Amazon. We've got NIO, which is obviously in the EV industry as well. So it's interesting to see how these change. But look at Tesla. It's come from absolutely nowhere in terms of it hasn't been building up over time. It's just absolutely taken off. And what does all this mean? Well, I think what this shows us is that retail investors, not traders, are really, really starting to turn their eye to Tesla. They are seeing the huge opportunity in this company and therefore in this investment. So it's like I said, it's receiving the highest net inflows of any security in 2023. Any security, even these massive indices, which of course many investors are going to have exposure to, but Tesla still tops it. And I think this is more interesting given what the Tesla stock has been doing over the past 12 months-ish. Look, let's have a look here, actually. Let's have a look. Where is my screen? Here it is. So let's go on to this page here. We'll zoom out to a 1-year period. No, we won't. We'll zoom out to a 5-year and then I'll zoom in so I can show you. So we see here that Tesla stock from this sort of time downwards to this low point here wasn't really doing all that well, but actually retail investors were seeing this as a prime opportunity. They were seeing the potential in Tesla stock for the future and they were buying shares. I was definitely buying shares throughout this point. I'm sure a lot of you that have Tesla in your portfolio were also doing that. It didn't feel very nice when it was down here. It really didn't. But those who then purchased shares, look what happened after that. Incredible. Year-to-date performance, 135%, which obviously way outperforms the S&P 500. And I think what that goes to show you is despite the volatility in this stock and despite those falls, those market dips that we've seen, retail investors have just seen that as an opportunity. And I think that will continue moving forward. So when we're hearing all this stuff about the demand's not there, interest rates are too painful for Tesla, they're having to lower their prices, this product is delayed. You know, Elon said this on Twitter, and yes, that does obviously impact the stock and that can impact the company, of course. He does have a massive influence on the company. There's no denying that. But that shows you that even after all those things come out, funds might be changing their mind left, right, and center, but actually retail investors are buying this, seeing the opportunity and holding it for the long term, seeing the opportunity in the future trends with EVs, with AI. And I think Tesla is one of the biggest AI players, one of the most underrated because they're not thought of as being an AI stock. And then we've got the robotics sector, you know, all of this stuff is building. So we'll talk about what I'm doing in my portfolio in just a bit, but I am 100% going to keep adding Tesla because there's, in my opinion, unless something goes crazily wrong, I just don't see how they're not going to become one of, if not the biggest companies in the future, especially if Optimus really takes off and the robotaxi fleet. And then we've got everything else to consider. Okay, so let's now have a look, actually. This is a good time to do this. Let's look at both Tesla and Palantir compared to the S&P 500. I think that's quite a good benchmark. We can see what they've been, you know, how volatile they've been, how they've performed in the past year to date and whatnot to the S&P 500. So we'll start with Tesla just because, you know, we've been talking about Tesla so far. In case you're wondering what on earth I'm on here, this is Seeking Alpha. I have the premium version of Seeking Alpha. Great platform, honestly. I use it for every single piece of stock research. There's so much you can do on it, honestly. It tells you all the latest information. You can get email alerts. You can see what different analysts are saying. You can see ratings, financials, just literally everything. But anyway, I'm on this section here. And you can obviously do this on Google. I just like doing it on here because it's up and I'm using it anyway. Excuse me. So over the last year to date, I'm going to just zoom ever so slightly. Tesla stock up by 135.43%. S&P 500 during that same time period, year to date, has returned 24.13%. Now, obviously, that is still a good return for the S&P 500. Typically, you see it return about 8 to 10% on average per year, historical data. So that's a very, very good return. And clearly, this has been driven by some of those Magnificent Seven stocks that have had a fantastic year. Will this continue moving forward? Who knows? Interest rates are meant to be coming down next year, so potentially we could see the S&P 500 and these big tech stocks having a fantastic time again. But we'll have to wait and see. Let's zoom it out to a 3-year period. You can see that actually over 3 years, Tesla has slightly underperformed the S&P 500. It's had some, like we saw just now when we looked at the stock price, it has had those periods where it has dipped significantly, caused by potential China competition, price drops, lots of media news, Elon Musk purchasing X and all of the stuff surrounding that. Like, will he be concentrating on Tesla? Loads and loads of stuff. But actually, what has it done since? It's recovered and then some. So those people that were buying, like I said, during this section here, during these dips, returned a lot more for their money. 5 years. This is where it gets a little bit nuts. And this is where you can start to see the real opportunity in some of the best stocks, the best growth stocks, the best tech stocks out there. And it does beg the question, when we're thinking about what the future will be, what companies are you betting on? Because actually, when we're investing, yeah, it's great that this company has done this in the past and they've done this and they've achieved that. And this company is a blue chip company and, they've been around for decades and that's great. And they'll continue growing at the pace they are. Fantastic. Those are all companies that you probably want to consider for your portfolio. However, if you want to make the most money, then you do have to be a bit more risky and actually say, I see the future going in this way. I see this trend happening. And because of that, I am going to be putting money into this company. And then I'm going to be holding it for 5, 10, 15, 20 years so I can see that growth. Tesla might be one of those companies. 5 years, over 1,000% compared to just under 100%. And when you look at it like this, when you look at it with the two charts, you can't even really see the S&P 500. It's all the way down here. However, what you will notice is that Tesla, like with other tech companies, is just so much more volatile. It's up, it's down, and it swings either way, very, very to the extreme. Whereas the index, not so much. Little bit up, little bit down, steady, steady, steady growth. You can pretty much guarantee, and I'll use that word lightly, guarantee that you will get market average returns, which are fantastic. But you won't get returns like this. But who's to say that Tesla will continue doing that? That's the judgment call we've got to make. 10 years again, you can see. So let's now just look at Palantir. I'm actually going to put a link to Seeking Alpha in the chat, just in case you want to use it. That link is an affiliate link, so it will give you 7-day free trial and $50 off, or the equivalent if you're in the UK. You can cancel. You don't have to, pay for it after the 7-day free trial, but I would say it's worth it. But obviously, it's completely up to you. But let me pop it in here in case anyone does want to check it out. It's a long old link, guys. I'm sorry. It's in the description as well. It's in the description. All my videos, actually. Right, let's see. So year to date, we know that Palantir, again, has had a fantastic time. It's slightly been dropping over the last 1 month. If we looked at this chart a month ago, it would have been up by even more. But 175% return to investors. So if you just purchased a small amount even of shares at the beginning of this year and you sold right now, 175% return. Taking into account, obviously, any taxes, any exchange fee, and any exchange rate fees, but still incredible. One of the best this year. S&P 500, we've obviously know what that's done this year. And then when we zoom out to a 3-year period, obviously with this company only going public not that long ago, there's not much data. And since it had its DPO up here, you can see it did drop significantly. So we've still not actually returned to those values. We haven't returned to all-time highs yet, but could 2024 be the year? A lot of people are saying yes. Again, we will have to wait and see. We'll absolutely have to wait and see. So let's now continue, actually, whilst we're talking about Palantir. We'll continue with Palantir, and then we'll go back and look at Tesla a little bit more, and then we'll talk about my portfolio. So let's jump to this next section here. Right, so we all know Dan Ives. Everyone knows Dan Ives on this channel, I'm sure. Anyway, he has carried out some research, lots of research on many companies, Palantir being one of the main ones he covers, along with Tesla as well, and some others. But anyway, he has carried out some research, had some interviews with people from the different companies that he covers. And this is what he has to say based on all of that research, all of them interviews about Palantir. And I think this really sums it up quite nicely, actually. It sums up what Palantir are doing and why he's particularly bullish on it. So let's just read this quickly. Palantir remains at the center of the AI transformation, with AIP picking up significant traction across all sized organizations, with the AI ontology as the bedrock for its growth strategy. AIP, massive potential. That is what seems to be pushing the growth of this company up right now, and it's absolutely gaining significant traction. I think since they've released AIP, so many more people have actually started investigating this company. So the end-to-end platform is built around the idea of ontology, which acts as the foundation for AI and human teaming by bringing together data, logic, and action to properly collaborate with humans and AI to provide an overview of the enterprise. Lots of words there, but bringing all the data together into an ontology to understand what is going on in your business at a very high level in real time, and you can dig deeper into the details too. With various ways AI proactively helps with enterprises' problems, Palantir has developed a full model of the world backed by different with connectors built in to quickly integrate data so users can get started with AI-driven workflows faster, lowering that barrier to entry, making it easier for people to get real-world applications and benefits. AIP continues to generate significant demand uptick on both the commercial and federal sectors as AI provides various use cases across both landscapes. We know this. We know that it's both useful in the commercial sector and in the government sector, and it will continue. Hopefully, we'll continue to see both of those grow at a pretty good rate moving forward for Palantir in terms of revenue, in terms of customer growth, all of that good stuff. So Palantir continues to make strategic partnerships with various arms of global federal governments, including the Pentagon, with demand staying strong while in the early innings of penetrating civil, healthcare, and justice. Commercial growth has seen higher acceleration over the past 2 years after seeing heightened success of its boot camps. Boot camps. Everyone is singing the praises of AIP boot camps at the moment, it seems, and I think for good reason as well, where the company compressed a 2 to 3 month pilot into a few days, leading to a service of more new customers, where the bootcamp model saw more new customers in the first 3 quarters than the whole of 2022. We know this stuff already, but it's so important and so significant to see that actually what they are doing by having these go-to-market bootcamp strategies is they are reducing that barrier and getting more people on board quicker, that then turns over to paying customers in the future. And although, like, we talk about AIP monetization a lot, they are upselling other things whilst doing this. So it's a win-win in my opinion. While focusing on becoming key architectures for enterprise to build upon, Palantir is adding new models in different workflow settings as users continue to see increased use cases for AI, while seeing performance uptick to further boost demand over the next few years, while better position themselves at the center of this decade-long transformation. So that last sentence there, Dan Ives and Wedbush in general have been very, very clear that they see the AI revolution happening. It's here, it's happening, we're at the start of it, and those companies that are providing value will be the ones to see the returns in the long term. That's what they're saying. And they believe that that Palantir is positioning themselves at the center of this decade. And I do kind of view Palantir like that as well. They're sitting, getting their hands in the commercial side, the government side, working with many different sectors to understand data, to understand how you can use AI in your business. And they have competitors, yes, but really, how strong are the other competitors at this point? I don't think that's strong, in my opinion. So, right, let's now quickly change our gear again back to Tesla. I should have done this in some sort of logical order, but now we have got this. If you follow Tesla, you probably would have already seen this, but no surprise here whatsoever. No surprise. Tesla, right? When they designed their charging standard, they called it the North American Charging Standard, and I don't think they did that lightly. Because what has it become? It has literally become the North American Charging Standard. The name gives it away. Everyone out there, all the different companies are flocking to adopt this. And that will then give them access to the supercharging network. But what we can see here, VW Group, which is obviously one of the massive car manufacturers, we know this, announced the adoption of Tesla's North American Charging Standard. They were one of the big ones that everyone was waiting for, and it just wasn't happening, and it's happened. Okay, so the length of time it took VW Group to adopt North American charging standards suggests that they may not be putting their customers first, and signals an alarming weakness amongst the group's top decision makers. So what this post is basically saying is that those companies that shifted quickly and adopted this charging standard are the ones that will put in their customers first, because it gives them access to the Tesla supercharging network. And ultimately, one of the big barriers to people adopting an EV is range anxiety, is being able to charge quickly, effectively. And just a little side tangent here. Someone that I know in my actual life, not on YouTube, in my actual life, test drove a Tesla for the first time yesterday or the day before, very, very recently. They went into that not having a bias towards having a Tesla. They test drove a lot of cars. They came out of that saying that hands down, that was the best driving experience that they've ever had. One of the cars with the best technology comparing to other cars with the same sort of price tag. And the whole experience from going to book the test drive to driving it to everything, incredible, which was really great to hear, because this person, like I said, wasn't biased. They're not a Tesla investor. They don't care about Tesla. They have no reason to want a Tesla over any other car. And like I said, they test drove loads of cars and they now want a Tesla. So, the demand is there. People are making that switch. Anyway, let's have a look at this chart here. So Tesla's North American charging standard adoption by automotive makers, number of days after Ford announced as the first automaker to adopt Tesla's charging standard. So we knew that Ford came as the first one, and then it sort of snowballed and we just kept seeing them. And this is the number of days. I'm obviously not going to read out all of these, but you can see pretty much, look at all these big names here that have now made the switch. VW Group being one of the most recent, took them 207 days, which may indicate that they were a bit hesitant to do so. Maybe they didn't want to. Maybe it was a very convoluted decision amongst the top people in that business. I don't really know. But I still think that Tesla's supercharging network and Tesla's supercharging in terms of the actual hardware as well as the network is going to really, I'm not saying it's going to be a massive revenue source for Tesla compared to their other areas, but I do think it's seeing substantial growth, and we're going to continue to see that, especially now we are getting big companies buying a lot of the hardware, as we've seen with the company that own Asda here in the UK and BP as well. So I think that will continue. Maybe they'll have servicing charges. I think it's going to be quite good. So with that in mind, we then had this, back to Dan Ives again. Back to Dan Ives. So the company that he works for, Wedbush Securities, have raised their price target to $350 per share, Based on our increasingly bullish view of further EV share gains and margin stabilization in 2024, we believe Tesla will reach a 1 trillion market cap despite growing skepticism by the street. I think, do you know what? I really appreciate Wedbush and Dan Ives for covering Palantir, covering Tesla, covering some of these tech stocks that the street in general don't really want to take all that seriously, you know? So yeah, I absolutely agree. I'm not saying this is my price target or anything like that, but margin stabilization, especially if we get those interest rates coming down, it does look very good for companies like Tesla. 1 trillion market cap. Yeah, I mean, like I've just said earlier in this live stream, I absolutely think Tesla will become one of the biggest, if not the biggest, don't know what time period, companies in the world. I really do. Just my opinion, not financial advice, obviously. So with all of that said, let's now talk about portfolios moving forward. Quite a lot to say. I'll just quickly go through mine and then we'll jump into the live chat because I realize I've been talking for quite a while. Sorry guys, I'm excited about the Christmas period, obviously. So my portfolio, I have 3 portfolios. I have my crypto portfolio, I have my ETF, which is an S&P 500 ETF, and then I have my main account, which has got Palantir, Tesla, and some other stocks in. We won't talk about crypto because I don't know how many people are interested in that, so we'll move that to one side. My ETF, S&P 500 ETF, I plan to continue holding moving forward. I'm going to be adding to that as and when I can. When I say as and when I can, it's in a previous account, which I can't add new money to. But what I can do is reinvest dividends, and it's a dividend paying version of an S&P 500 ETF. So what that means is every few dividend payments, and it's a quarterly paying dividend ETF, I am able to then purchase another share. I'll continue doing that. That is very much just going to grow slowly in the background, and it gives a nice basis to my portfolio, I think. Then talking about the other positions in my portfolio, Tesla and Palantir being the 2 largest. I am absolutely going to keep adding to these, and I'm not gonna be selling them. I'm not going to be moving that money anywhere else at the moment or anything like that. Moving into 2024 with all the research, all the hours I've spent on these 2 companies over the past however many months, however many years, more bullish than ever, more convicted than ever. We'll continue to add, especially, like I keep saying, if the macro is going to be favorable, we could be in for some very, very nice gains in 2024. But again, if you're in this for the long term, doesn't really matter what just a year is. So we'll be continuing to add to them. At the moment, Tesla is the largest in that position, in that portfolio. It's over half of the whole portfolio by weighting. I am planning to keep it as the largest position. Whether it will stay at like 50% or come down to more like 40%, who knows? We'll have to see what the rebalancing looks like in a few months when I get around to doing that. But it will be the biggest position. Palantir, second largest. Again, I plan to keep it like that. I plan to keep that one just under Tesla in terms of allocation. Then I've recently added a position to give me exposure to the gene editing, the genomics world, which I've spoken about, and I think that's going to be massive moving forward, but very long-term massive, not like next year massive. And I've got Intellia stock to represent that. I've been very clear when I've talked about that in a recent video that it will be a position that I keep researching and building out slowly. I'm not in any rush. And I will probably be looking to see what other stocks in that area I do want exposure to. But again, not in any rush, going to spend my time researching. And then in terms of other positions that I may look to add. Now, I very, very much think that, like Dan Ives, the AI revolution is here, and there are going to be particular stocks that really benefit from that. So I'm probably going to be looking to add maybe a semiconductor stock into my portfolio at some time, maybe more exposure to the AI industry, but I haven't really decided what that will actually look like yet. I will probably spend my Christmas period doing some further researching and aligning what I want to do. But absolutely, at a very high level, Tesla, Palantir, genomics will make up a big portion. Back in the EV sector to continue to grow, I don't see how that is going to change. AI, again, don't see that going anywhere anytime soon. We are at the very, very beginning of that S-curve adoption, early days. Obviously, Bitcoin, blockchain technology, again, I think is going to be big. That's in my crypto portfolio, exposure to all of that. And yeah, we'll have to see. If I do add any new positions, of course, I will at some point make a YouTube video about it. But if you want that in real time, come and join the Patreon. Any buys or sells I make, I let those guys know first. I actually did make a change this morning, which I put on Patreon and Discord. So yeah, if you want to join that, come and join, chat to us. It's £3 a month or the equivalent. So literally as cheap as I could make it. It's fun. It's a good time over there. Right, let's see what you guys are doing with your portfolio. I wonder if I can change this quickly because this is really, is that better? Let's go with green, guys. Let's go with green. We will, okay, we're going to go with this because green means money and we want to end the year with some good returns. So what's this comment? I sold all of my Palantir just before the dip for profit and reinvested into those following ticker symbols, those stocks there for the time being. Have a good feeling that crypto is going to do awesome this next year. Yeah, I mean, crypto bull run 2024. We'll have to wait and see. I do still think it's obviously, you've got to spend time researching and understanding about crypto before you put money in because it is a minefield. It is, I think there's a lot of opportunity there, but there's also so much, like so many scams in that industry, which is just, it's a shame because I don't think it needs to be like that. But yeah, nice. I'm glad you took profit and you've redistributed that money as you see fit. I asked you, Michael, are you going to start a position again in the future in Palantir, or is this you taking money in and you're out now? Eich, or you can say it more in a German way and get a bit more angry if you want to, but I say Eich. Plan is to continue to add to long-term positions and shed some of the skyrocketing spec plays, Bitcoin miners, CleanSpark. Yeah. If you've been investing, I wonder if Sir Lallington's here. Maybe he's not today. Okay. Shout out to Sir Lallington. He's on the Discord. And the reason I'm saying that is because he purchased CleanSpark and he ended up selling for a decent profit. Like he made a really good profit, but he's sort of kicking himself now because of the absolute craziness that's happened with some of the crypto mining companies. Yeah, but nice. I didn't add any of them, unfortunately. Some very, very good gains there. Hello, thank you for coming to this live. Appreciate that, Anna. I've just got started being serious in investing this autumn. So I'm figuring out how much percentage each stock should be in my total. I'll do consistent monthly investing in 2024. Yeah, well, if you're adding consistently into your portfolio, that is literally 1,000,000 times better than the average person who is just keeping all of their money in a normal account and it is getting eaten up by inflation. So you're on the right track there, absolutely. And figuring out the percentage of each stock. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing right now, actually, and what I'll be doing early 2024, because I've obviously got Palantir and Tesla in my portfolio in large quantities. And because of how they've performed this year, I am now, they are a big, big portion of my portfolio. And I want them to stay as the two largest positions, absolutely. But I might need to just redistribute the money a little bit into other positions. But we'll see. Because at the moment, they are literally sitting at like 80% between them of the entire portfolio. And my plan is to go all in on a selection of stocks, but maybe not just one stock. Change my portfolio from big tech to small cap and Bitcoin miners this fall. Planning to change Bitcoin miners after halving for other stocks, mainly back to Nvidia. Yeah, this is an interesting comment. So a lot of people are saying that the money is going to small caps next year. It's going away from those big companies and more into the more volatile small cap positions, small cap tech stocks specifically. I think that could, it could absolutely happen. But there's been times where, for example, ARK Invest have said, I think this year or last year, they said that the money will be in the small cap companies. And you can see that from their portfolios. And actually what they ended up doing, they sold a lot of the big positions, the big Magnificent Seven, put the money into small caps, and look what the big caps, the Magnificent Seven, have done this year. So it's really hard to make that judgment, but a lot of people are anticipating that that's where the money's going next year. And strategic play there, move in after the halving, makes sense, back to Nvidia. A lot of people are hesitant now on adding Nvidia because of the massive run up. But I saw an interesting post on X that was showing, I think it was P ratios, I want to say. Anyway, I won't try and find it right now, but it was basically showing that actually out of the Magnificent Seven, I've got an eyelash in my eye. We'll ignore that. Out of the Magnificent Seven, actually, Nvidia is one of the cheapest stocks, if you will. So it's one I'm going to do a little bit more digging on. But there are obviously lots of companies that have a lot of potential. And also, if any of you guys are here right now and weren't on the live yesterday, I think it was, someone asked me if I've ever thought about trading. And I said, I'm not a trader. Like I don't really trade. Well, I don't trade. I'm very much on the side of long-term investing. However, if people want to see it, I'm going to make like an experiment portfolio where I do move in and out of positions more short-term and see what happens, because I think it'll be interesting to either make money or lose money that I can afford to lose, and actually just show that as I go on YouTube. And I've got some ideas of what stocks I'd put in there that I see very short to mid-term gains, especially early 2024. 2024, doubling down on a couple of minus 80% positions, holding everything else, doing more covered calls, generating income. Tesla, 80% of the portfolio, everything else less than 2%. Yeah, if I remember rightly, Colin, you're down on your Tesla position at the moment. I obviously don't know what's going to happen, like none of us do, but I don't imagine it will stay down forever. This stock moves very quickly, and to be able to continue adding whilst it's down, whilst any position is down significantly from all-time highs and from recent highs even, it's where the money's made. Except Coinbase, which continues to rocket. Yeah, I haven't checked Coinbase recently. People, what do we think? Let's answer this question. What's the best investment right now? My opinion, and just my opinion, would be Tesla, just because, well, be here forever if I start talking about this. I won't do that to you guys. Watch any of my videos and it will be clear why I think Tesla. But if you're looking for maybe more short term, potentially. People, let's answer this question. Right. I would love to have 50K minimum in Tesla. It's achievable. It's definitely achievable. Like, I don't know obviously don't know your situation, John, and how much you have left over each month to be able to invest. But if you've got a plan and you know what you are able to invest each month, keep going and you'll absolutely get there. I don't know if you mean 50K money wise or 50K shares. Actually, now I'm looking at it. I'd like 50K shares. Oh, that'd be nice. Have I checked out tip ranks? Yep. I like it. I honestly just do all my stuff on Seeking Alpha. There you go. There's one answer. I think shareholders are slowly accepting the fact that Elon is Elon. When he said, yeah. I think so. I do think that some people won't invest into Tesla because of Elon and some other opinions that he has maybe, but we can knock him as much as we want, but ultimately he is one of the best CEOs, founders out there for sure. Look what he's achieved. TAM for Tesla is huge, including energy. Yep, energy is just starting. Or you're even closer to Christmas than we are. December the 23rd right now in Australia. Thanks, Nick, for joining. 5:20 a.m. in California. Nice and early for you to be joining this live stream. Comfortable and well built, likes better than your Mercedes. I've heard a few people say that they don't think Teslas are very well built and, you know, the quality is not quite there or whatever, but that's like 1% compared to everyone else that I've seen that absolutely love them. Tim, I have no idea what this is in reference to. If it's something that I've said, I've completely forgotten. Backstreet Boys. I don't know why Backstreet Boys are here, but they are. Oh, that's a nice one. Love being part of the Discord. Keeps me sane. Appreciate that. I appreciate that indeed. Yeah, the Discord's fun. We have basically lots of different channels. We have Tesla, Palantir, investing, a watch list for different stocks, even a book club on there, like a bit of everything, self-improvement, investing strategies, you name it, it's on there. You can come and join if you want. You can come and join. There's no like minimum required time that you have to be a part of it. You know, you can come for a month and then you can leave if you want. But it's a nice, yeah, it is a nice way to keep you sane, especially when stocks are dropping. You can throw out ideas to other people in there. I obviously really like it, but hey, I'm biased. It's the community that I'm building. ASML, TMS, AMD. Yeah, all on my list. I will do my research. Yes, I did. Rocket Lab. Yeah, it went crazy. Let's see now. Quite a few people that I follow on X have a position in Rocket Lab. So I did see this. Oh yeah, I can see actually it's all over. Let me share my screen. Why is it not? Oh, I can't get them. It's all right. But yeah, I did see it. Incredible after the new contract. My portfolio is up 65% this year. I only own 4 stocks: Amazon, Palantir, Parker, I don't know what that is, and a small fund called TNA. Where are the most returns coming? Which out of them 4 has performed the best year to date so far? I hope crypto is easier to understand. I lost a lot. Yeah, this is the thing. So many people have lost so much money, and there's, like I said, there's loads of scamming in that industry. It's sad, but I still do think that it is the future, and we'll just consolidate and remove a lot of coins that are just meme coins and a load of rubbish. That's my opinion. Good afternoon, Drew. Thanks for coming. I know you come to these quite often, so appreciate that. I'm still a Palantir fan and will reinvest during the dips next year from profits I make from other investments. I see Palantir as a very long-term hold, but need the capital now to do crypto. Makes absolute sense. Yeah, my time horizon on Palantir is very much like, you know, long term. Same with Tesla. Okay, a lot of people are answering Tesla here. A lot of people. Just found your channel. Appreciate that. I don't expect people to find the channel through live streams, actually. So that's kind of cool. It's good to have you on board. When will I make money on Palantir? I'm in the red still. I wish I knew, Ethan. I have no idea. I don't know what your average is. I'm guessing you started purchasing relatively recently if you're in the red, or you purchased before the stock started falling after it went public, one or the other. But, you know, if you think this company, hang on. We're back. We're back in business. If you think this company is going to be a company that is very valuable in the future, then you will not be in the red forever. You've just got to be patient. Just got to be patient. When are you thinking the stock will go up a massive amount? Well, it already has. Year to date, it's done absolutely fantastic. It's outperformed the index. It's outperformed many, many other companies. It's really benefited from AI buzz. Lots of catalysts, lots of contracts, amazing, amazing earnings, profitable. All of this stuff that we've been waiting on as a community has happened this year. It's been fantastic. What will happen next year? We don't know, obviously. But what we do know is a lot of things are aligned that are very positive for the company. Many, many things. Will that mean the stock price will go up crazy amounts early next year? We don't know. It's just too unpredictable. I think what you've got to decide what your time horizon is. Then you've got to allow yourself to switch your mindset to see opportunity when things are falling, be patient, keep adding and hold. And just long-term delayed gratification. But do I think that the stock's going up next year? Yeah. Hello, Blu-ray? Blu-ray. Why am I going to call you Blu-ray? Bay-ray. Okay, not one I've heard of. Not one I've heard of. Okay, I don't know whether to sell my individual stocks and just put everything into S&P and other funds. More passive, much easier. Don't need to do your research very much if you do decide to do that. There are a lot of benefits of doing that. But if you want to research companies and you want to outperform the index, then individual stocks is what you'll need to do. Completely, you know, it's completely up to you. I personally do a little bit of both. I have a little bit of money in an S&P 500 ETF. And then I also have some individual stocks that I think are going to do very, very well. My 4 stocks all did above average. Palantir best, followed by Amazon. I've got Amazon and Palantir in my own portfolio, and they've had a very, very good year. Okay, I think that's pretty much all of the questions. Mine's a little bit delayed, I think, to what the real time is. Let's just have a look what Tesla and Palantir are doing pre-market. And then we will wrap up for the day. Obviously, I guess it goes without saying really, but I won't be live Monday and Tuesday next week. Right, let me share my screen. See what's going on here. Palantir up first. So pre-market is up by half a percentage kind of 63. 17.70 pre-market. So still under that $18 range. Let's just go 5 days. It has been at points, it's really been tinkering on that $18 level there. Sometimes it's gone over and then it's come back down. It's gone back up, come back down. Little dip here. We'll see what happens today. But remember, Christmas trading period is coming up. The UK stock market shut early today at 12:30, which has been and gone now. So just bear that in mind if you are planning to make investments this side of Christmas. Make sure you know when the stock market is open and when it's not, and you can get on with that if you want to. Tesla, slightly up by a bigger percentage than Palantir pre-market, $256.75. That's where we are right now. See what happens for the rest of the day. I'll just check the live chat once more. Palantir revenue will continue to grow quarter by quarter and their stock price will follow, no doubt. Yeah, I think ultimately that's what's going to happen over the long term. It'll be interesting when AIP monetization kicks off, obviously. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I'll cover all this, I'm sure, in upcoming videos. On that note, Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you for supporting this channel over the last however long you've been here, whether it's been a year, whether it's been a day, whether it's been a month. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you guys coming to these live streams. Have a fantastic, fantastic Christmas, everyone. Really appreciate it. And I will see you in videos between now and Christmas on this channel and my second channel, which is Stock Speak, if you haven't already subscribed. And of course, I'll be back doing live streams the other side of Christmas, maybe the 27th, 28th. We'll have to see. I'll let you guys know. But on that note, guys, I appreciate you all very much. Have a wonderful Christmas with your family and your loved ones. And I hope your portfolio looks very nice as well. All right, guys, thank you for joining. Have a great rest of your Friday, and I'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.